When I was a kid, Christmas Eve used to feel magical. Snow drifting past the windows, the fireplace crackling, the whole house warm and soft like a memory wrapped in a blanket. And of course, the cookies. 3 chocolate chip cookies, perfectly arranged on a plate with a note that said, "For Santa, enjoy." Every kid in the neighborhood did it. Cookies, milk, maybe a carrot for the reindeer. It was tradition. But in my town, we had another tradition. One that parents whispered about when they thought we were asleep. A tradition that everyone said was just a rumor. A tradition we all swore we didn't believe. Because there was a story, passed from the older kids to the younger ones on snow-covered playgrounds, that some parents didn't leave out cookies for Santa. They left something else. They left their bad kids. I remember hearing the story for the first time in 2nd grade. My friend Lucas told me behind the school, his breath fogging in the cold air. "They put him up by the tree," he whispered. "Bad kids, tied up or sleeping or whatever. And Santa comes down the chimney and eats them, bones and all."
"Shut up,"
I told him, trying to sound brave.
"Santa's nice."
"No, he's not," Lucas said. "Not the real Santa. The real Santa needs the kids. It's how he stays alive forever. My brother said he has teeth like a wolf. Doesn't drink milk. He drinks blood." I punched him, not hard, but enough to make him stop smiling. But that night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about Santa, the way my parents always shuddered when his name came up, the way they always told me to be good or else, and the way my mom locked my bedroom door on Christmas Eve. "Just to keep you safe," she'd say. Safe from what? The worst part about the rumor was that every year, every damn Christmas, kids went missing. Not a lot. One here, one there. Never enough to start a panic. Never enough for the police to call it anything but a holiday runaways. But we all knew. One year it was Emma Lewis from down the street. Quiet girl, good in school. She disappeared December 24th. Her house had lights up, decorations, everything normal, but her bedroom window was left wide open in the snow. Another year it was the Miller twins. They weren't bad kids either. They were just kids. Our parents told us not to talk about it. "People disappear, honey," my mom whispered once, squeezing my shoulder too hard. "It has nothing to do with Christmas." But the grown-ups in town had a look about them whenever a kid vanished. A look like they already knew. A look like guilt. And every Christmas morning, the adults always seemed tired. Drained but relieved. Like the storm had passed. I was 13 years old the year I finally saw him. My parents had gone to bed early. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that rings in your ears. I crept out of my room, heart pounding, determined to prove the rumors were wrong. The cookies were set out, 3 perfectly baked warm chocolate chip cookies, my mom's specialty. At midnight, the living room filled with the soft scratching sound from inside the chimney. Then a thud. Then a slow, wet breathing. Something heavy dragged itself down the brick, and when I stepped into the living room, I knew instantly the stories were true. He wasn't jolly, he wasn't round, he wasn't even human. He was tall, so tall he had to crouch under the ceiling beams. His red suit was torn, filthy, soaked in black stains I didn't want to identify. His beard hung in oily clumps, his skin was grayish like meat left out too long. And his teeth, God, his teeth were long, razor sharp, crowded in his mouth like a shark's. His eyes glowed yellow in the dark. Santa. The real Santa. He sniffed the cookies, snarled, then he sniffed the air, and then he turned and sniffed me. A low growl built in his throat. I froze. I didn't breathe, and then a whisper from the hallway. "Santa, he's mine." My mother. She stepped forward, calm, hands folded like she was talking to a priest. "He's been good this year," she told the creature. "No trades." Santa's lips peeled back, revealing rows of teeth, frustration dripping off him like sweat. Then he turned away, crawled back into the fireplace, and shot up the chimney with a screech that still rings in my nightmares. My mom didn't look at me. She just whispered, shaking, "Go to bed." I never forgot that night. Years later, after I moved out, after my parents died, after I had kids of my own, I found something in the attic. A leather-bound book, old and cracked, smelling like soot. Inside were names, hundreds of them, dates, a seal burned on the last page, a seal shaped like a reindeer skull, and a signature, S. Claus. Next to it in my mother's handwriting, "We agree to deliver one child every year in exchange for protection of the rest. As long as the trade is kept, the town survives." The contract. The secret all the adults knew. They didn't call it Christmas spirit. They called it survival. Now I'm older, wiser, with a wife, 2 children, and a house much like the one I grew up in. Warm lights, a fireplace decorated with stockings, snow falling softly outside. My kids asked tonight if we were leaving cookies out for Santa. I told them yes, but I didn't tell them the truth. I didn't tell them what crawls down the chimney after midnight. I didn't tell them about the contract. I didn't tell them why everyone in this town begs their children to be good. And I didn't tell them why I tucked them in next to the tree instead of their beds. Because the contract must continue. The town must be protected. And Santa must feed. As I write this down, the fire is dying low. The house is quiet. I can hear scratching in the chimney. He's coming. And this year, I've set my kids out for him. It's the only way to keep the rest of us safe. Merry Christmas.